Please help me reach 1,000 subscribers. I never thought my marriage would fall apart the way it did. If anything was ever going to destroy us, I assumed it would be something explosive. Infidelity, financial problems, a huge argument we could never come back from. But it wasn't any of those. In the end, it was words. Thoughtless, sharp words I was never supposed to hear. Words that cut so deeply that the second they reached me, I knew our relationship would never be the same. And the most painful part was this. They came from the person I trusted more than anyone. My wife. It was a normal Saturday evening. I had just returned from running errands, the trunk still packed with groceries. As I walked inside, I heard laughter coming from the living room. First, I smiled. My wife had a couple of friends over, and I assumed they were doing what they always did. Talking, laughing, unwinding. But then I stopped. Something about the laughter felt wrong. It wasn't light or warm. It was sharp, edged with cruelty. I quietly set the bags down and paused in the hallway, just out of view. That's when I heard her. My wife, the woman who vowed to love me, stand by me and build a future with me, was laughing at me. "He tries so hard to seem confident," she said, followed by bursts of laughter. "But honestly, it's embarrassing. At least he doesn't realize how pathetic he looks." One of her friends added. More laughter followed. My stomach dropped. I stood frozen. For a brief moment, I tried to convince myself they were talking about someone else. Anyone else. But then my wife continued. "And don't even get me started on how he dresses. I've tried to help him, but he never listens. Sometimes I look at him and wonder how I ended up married to someone like that." Each word hit harder than the last. My hands began to shake. My chest tightened. My heart was pounding so loudly I could barely think. This wasn't playful teasing. This wasn't harmless venting. This was cruelty. My wife was openly ridiculing me, tearing me apart in front of her friends. I listened just long enough for the final round of laughter to break something inside me. Then I walked into the living room. The laughter died instantly. Faces drained of color. My wife's smile vanished, replaced by fear and shock. The room went silent. I looked at each of her friends, then back at her. My voice trembled, but it was firm. "Everyone out of my house." They didn't move at first, stunned. I repeated it, louder this time, my voice shaking with humiliation and rage. "Get out." They scrambled to grab their things, avoiding my eyes as they rushed past me. When the door finally closed, my wife turned toward me, pale and shaking. "Wait, listen," she whispered. "It's not what you think. We were just joking. I didn't mean any of it. Please, calm down." But there was nothing left to calm. I looked at her, really looked, and felt completely hollow. "Pack your things and leave," I said quietly. "Tomorrow we're getting a divorce." Tears filled her eyes instantly. She reached for me, but I stepped back. I didn't want explanations. I didn't want excuses. Words like that don't come from nowhere. They come from truth, from how someone really feels. That night is mostly a blur. Her crying, apologizing, begging, but I felt nothing except emptiness. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard her voice again. Embarrassing, pathetic. How did I end up with him? You don't say things like that about someone you love. Not when you believe no one is listening. And without respect, love cannot survive. By morning, she had packed a bag. The silence between us was heavier than any argument we'd ever had. She kept whispering apologies, but they never reached me. The damage was already done. I filed for divorce that Monday. She fought it at first, insisting I was overreacting, claiming it was all a misunderstanding. But I knew the truth. I heard every word, and those words revealed how she truly saw me, how little she valued me. Looking back now, I realized that moment wasn't the beginning of the end. It was the end. I had just finally heard it spoken out loud. If your partner can mock you, belittle you, and laugh at you when you're not around, then the love you believed in never really existed. Leaving her was the hardest thing I've ever done, and also the most freeing. In the quiet that followed, I found clarity. I would rather be alone than spend my life with someone who sees me as a joke. And that's how a marriage I once thought would last forever ended in a single night. Not because of cheating, not because of lies, but because of something even more painful: disrespect. Please help me reach 1,000 subscribers.